Welcome back, everyone, to MSI 2023. And before we get into game number 4, we need to go back to the very end of the previous game because a very interesting thing happened. Gentlemen, do you want to explain how this one went?
So I want you to keep your eyes onto Chovy's items because as this is coming down, he buys a stopwatch mid-fight on the fountain to stopwatch the damage, which keeps him alive, allows him to get the shield, allows him to get the heal, and literally saves the bloody game off of that.
And so that's the value of stopwatch.
We were talking about investments, we were talking about what you put your money towards. It's always stopwatch. Always.
Yeah, that's it's just the highest value. So we've confirmed it, we've figured it out, and now we're ready to get into game number 4. Is this the start of a potential reverse sweep, or is it a hiccup? Is it once again going to be T1 taking a 3-1 victory over Gen.G in not the final?
I think that Gen.G is not going to feel like that game was theirs. You know, that maybe wasn't really the direction that they wanted the game to go in. As really big pivot here. We want to highlight that Annie going to be taken away for the first time. Peyz has been forced to run cleanse every single game up until this point, whereas Guma has been allowed to use Ghost with both early game and team fighting application. So that is something that is now going to no longer be as big of an issue for him.
T1 on the red side this time around. They elected to head over there, so enjoying their time on the red side so far. I've only played one blue side game so far this tournament. Faker is not enthralled just yet. Needs to be on Summoner's Rift before he's super excited and engaged. But here we go. First pick, once again, K'Sante, Maokai, and Vi going to be taken away. This time, the Ahri left up, and the first pick going to be the Jinx. Really has skyrocketed as far as priority. It was the Aphelios that was picked up first time around in game number 1. I'm
curious now if the Ahri does get taken away and you actually see Faker and Oner trying to go towards this more heavy mid-jungle style, especially since it has been the favorite of Chovy and Peanut trying to go for that. But Lulu is up and available, so they're immediately just going to take the Lulu and the Aphelios, it looks like.
Wouldn't be surprised. Also, wouldn't be shocking if we do see Delight going over to his Fresh again. Had some great hooks, had some not so great moments.
Yeah.
Some of the mid-game fights not quite working out, but
Ooh.
the Ahri does make a ton of sense, because I also think that you can't give it to Chovy. Even though in game number 1 it didn't end up working out, I do think that on that pick, he is a complete menace, and denying it to him also means that he might get pushed to another champion where he's not as comfortable.
Could be, but Lissandra Viego could be a lock-in here that Gen.G could go towards. Does go quite well into the Ahri, although we have seen Ahri win out in the matchup in the laning phase. But that combination is very strong. Peanut loves the Viego, but instead, looks like it is going to be the Wukong once again. Where does Chovy go? And it looks like it will still be Lissandra regardless.
I kind of love that Peanut. He was like, oh no, it's not good anymore. And then Kanavi won it. It's like, oh, I guess I can still play it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Wukong like I've done for the entirety of the split.
And it works so well, as Atlus was already saying with the Lissandra. So I think the big question mark now is like, what happens for Delight in that bot lane? Because I think you're going to get rid of the Thresh. You're going to get rid of probably the Tam Kench as well, honestly, with at least how your composition's setting up here for T1, looking a bit more dive with the Ahri. So I imagine Peyz is going to have a little bit more trouble this game, even if he doesn't run the cleanse, with just the fact that you do have so much threat that's going to be going towards that back line.
Well, the Aphelios is going to be locked away here. So once again, Lulu Aphelios for the T1. Bottom side. And like you were talking about, likely to see some support bans, likely to see a Poppy ban over the other side before we get into the next round of picks.
The great bait and switch.
Want to highlight as well, a pick that we have not really seen outside of some bans left and right, and I do actually think Gen.G can look towards is Renata, which is one of the picks we saw often into specifically these type of short-range compositions, and right now T1 is heading in that direction again. Makes it really hard as well to get those kind of short bursty kills, and really both compositions right now I think are looking for that initial start, right? Like get someone, start either the Lissandra chain, get all those clones, or get Ahri on the board, start the reset with the ultimate. As you mentioned, unsurprisingly, Fresh gonna get taken away, and same for the Blitz, particularly into that Lulu Aphelios.
I am curious though what the jungle, the jungle pick is going to be here for Oner, because as you're saying, the Poppy already going to be taken off the board. Those are amazing. But
Chovy and Peanut looking dapper.
But I think you're kind of looking like, okay, do you go back to Elise Sin, upgrade into the Lissandra, when you look towards things like the Sejuani, don't really want to pair that. So there's a Sion ban, and we'll have to figure out exactly what the plan is going to be here for T1.
I wanted to see Zeus' face after that, because he might have been like, yes, finally, don't have to play Sion.
There's a little nod there.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Malphite.
Yeah, and still not going to have the greatest of times. But the Nocturne going to be locked in first. Love the Nocturne plus Lulu combination.
Also, what goes into what you were saying, right? That just by what is currently unavailable for Gen.G, Peyz is not going to have nearly the amount of support that he normally would. Kench could still be on the table, but does mean that you lack the amount of hard engage that I think with a Wukong you'd want. Wukong Rakan is an incredibly strong combo that allows you to team fight basically at any point at any time. Could also go for the Gragas, and looks like that at the very least. Gragas Rakan, like this is just a bouncy castle here for Gen.G if they do a blocking this in.
Yeah, just making sure that you cannot have fun here is Gumayusi. The second you try to walk up, there's so much CC that can come your direction. And yeah, I think he'll end up going back towards the Rakan. Other option could be something like a Braum. I know he just sucks in lane, like you're not going to have a great time, but just that disengage, but still going to go for the Rakan instead.
Zeus?
It's Keria. I don't trust Keria at all.
Yeah, no, never. Although, I would love this, to be perfectly honest. I was talking about this earlier in the green room, the good old Susan. But cycling through some choices before Zeus does decide to settle on something. We'll see what it is going to be. I'll try to stop.
It's gonna be like
Ornn,
yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So Ox was actually talking about this backstage, how good the bug fix was for the Ornn. He was actually filling me in on it. So the fact that you used to have a stun and a knockup that was coded into the Ornn, and it meant that if you got Merc Threads or you had Tenacity, you would actually not bounce as high as you were supposed to. But now, with the bug fix, Ornn is actually incredibly strong because you no longer get the Tenacity working on a lot of these knockups, so you actually end up CC'd for incredibly long, and you're seeing his win rate bump up from about a 50% win rate to a 53% win rate just off of that bug fix alone. So massive, massive win, and shout out to Ox and also Gulberg, who we're talking about it backstage.
Well, also, Zeus is pretty good at this champion, gives them a lot of late game power, and like, the thing is, now Gumayusi's ceiling is like an extra 1,000 gold worth of items on top of all of the others that he could possibly get towards. And the Ornn going to provide all of that CC at the same time. So T1, I like the team composition, but Gen.G, a lot of comfort for them as well.
Yeah, I'd also argue that even in the last game, did Gen.G really win a team fight at any point, right? Like, they won skirmishes, surely. They won a couple of fights, but a straight up 5v5, I'm not 100% sure if they're able to get. And effectively, with that Ornn lock-in, this is just another team fight comp, right? These compositions operate very similarly. Snowbally mid lane mage with a lot of CC setup, junglers that are looking to get at backline access, and then a beefy boy in the front with that Gragas and Ornn.
I do think, though, this is a little bit of an easier to execute composition where you can actually fight front to back in a lot of scenarios. Like, and that was one of the big things that was kind of the crux of the problems for Gen.G in the last one, where it was like, oh, well, we got a bunch of things that want to try and flank and get into positions on the back line, but not really in a position to do so. So I think this time around when Chovy can, you know, have that Ice Claw that can go through the team, or you have Doran even who can try and separate fights, it becomes a little bit easier. It is going to be tough, though, when Oner, Faker are the ones still trying to dive Peyz in the back line, and how safe can he be when those two are coming for him?
You can see Zeus actually spotted on a ward, moved back down towards his bottom side, even though he's not Sion, still going to be down here in the very beginning. Does go back, moves up towards top lane. So it looks like no shenanigans to begin this one off. And we'll see who that is going to benefit. T1, like you guys have mentioned, throughout this series, we've just been team fighting better so far. I think we're safe to say that. But Gen.G, now with a little bit more wind in their sails. Killing a Nexus is the most important part of the game. So, although T1 did have a lead for the entirety of Game 3, the winner of the game was Gen.G. And so, should make them feel good moving into this next game.
I do want to highlight, yeah, you were pointing it out earlier, right? Like Peanut having a laugh and being able to.
He was still laughing as well as they were walking into the rift.
Well, yeah, and also as they were losing, right? And I think that Peanut and just in general, this Gen.G's ability to be resilient no matter the game state is something that you are obviously very well acquainted with Atlus, but in general I think is something that has allowed him to come back from almost unwinnable positions, not just in individual games but also in series, as early aggression here.
Yeah, it is going to be the heal utilized on both sides, but an extra ghost being employed by Gumayusi just to get control at level 1. This is something that Keria has done in almost every game. It is freely investing summoner spells just to get control of the wave.
We also have Peyz going for cleanse again, even though he's not playing into the Annie, so definitely remarkable there. Wants to have full agency, and is also paired with a Rakan, right? It's not like you're playing with Lulu and McHills is on the board, so does make sense, provides some of extra safety against the Nocturne Fear as well.
Yeah, I think a huge amount of this is going to be a case of, like, how much can Peyz dodge? You've got knockups from Zeus, the follow-up from Oner and Faker. Like, he's going to have so many things gunning for him that I think the cleanse is going to be very much needed, but it does mean Guma has a little bit more control in these early stages, and at least at the moment, Oner moving down towards the spot side. I don't think anything's really going to happen down here, but at least having that support here for T1 to continue pushing in.
Once again, spooky Nocturne as well. Very
Great.
happy to
Big
see
fan.
it. Yeah, my personal favorite. It's just so cute.
I'm glad I'm learning so much about myself over the course of the day.
Yeah.
I'm a spooky Nocturne guy.
Yeah.
I'm a mountain guy.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm having, you know, a true self-reflection and
it's a
discovery
journey.
session today. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens if you cast with the two of us. I'm not going to do the recruitment again. As Chovy taking the worst end of that trade here in this mid lane. Faker actually playing it out quite nicely for now. Of course, Chovy going to be okay with it for the moment as we split up to have a look at all of these different lanes. Zeus underneath his turret, just happily farming things up as best he can as the Ornn. And on the bottom side, T1 getting that push in. So far, not a whole lot to comment on, apart from the fact that T1's laning phase has been a little bit more beneficial for them as this game has continued on. As Peanut will take this first rip stuff.
It's really interesting to see, though, how, like, at least from looking at finals, and you guys are more an expert than I am, but Gen.G, I felt like we're really, really good at kind of reading what T1 wanted to do,
Yeah.
and then operating as, okay, we're going to match you on side lanes, but kind of always punish these mistakes. And this game, it's actually almost been a reverse where, look, T1's laning phase is still as strong as ever, but Gen.G haven't actually been able to match T1 in a lot of these early plays, and it's Gen.G who've made a lot of critical errors at important times. It's kind of sad to see that Gen.G haven't been able to find that level of success, because it was something that I was really looking forward to watching on the MSI stage.
I think a lot of it comes down to how specifically Chovy and Delight have been performing. Chovy has still been fine, but he hasn't really had the impact that I think was one of the biggest parts of what made finals so one-sided, what made Gen.G in general such a great team when they were on. And Delight also, it's easy to forget because we also have Peyz, who kind of defies a lot of the normal rules for your first international tournament. But Delight, also his first international tournament, was of course part of Breon, played like 1 playoffs last year, but outside of that, really never made deep runs. And I think these are the type of moments where you can really see that. His fresh game in the last game as well, a lot of those hooks, we saw him hit actually in the finals, in playoffs in the LCK.
Yeah. Well, here on the top side, going to have it back interrupted. Chovy as well, like continuing to fall down. Faker has just played a fantastic series so far. Of course, first 2 games on the Annie, but here, really laning effectively on the Ahri. We'll see how much more he's going to do as this one continues. As Chovy underneath his turret for now. A lot of pressure being put down as the Demolish proc comes through from the Ahri, but Circle of Frost is going to come down. And there's a Nimbus Strike, fantastic charm to deny Peanut. Now the Blast Cone is in position, and oh, the flash on over, but still going to get juked a little bit by that one. Foxfire is flying out as Doran looking to rout him. He just flashes on over. All right, well, Doran's flash is down and Faker is still dead. Going to be able to take that first blood is Peanut. Meanwhile, it is going to be the Drake taken by T1.
Nice turnaround from Chovy to get the kill into mid, but as you say, T1 being able to respond well with the Dragon in their own right. So a little overzealous, I'll say, with the flashes.
I actually, it's important to remember, like, Faker has his flash, and they didn't have vision. So Doran thinks that if he doesn't flash and denies the blast cone, Faker might be able to get out. But I think he could have also just waited and maybe been fine.
I feel like if we were to go in with a microscope afterwards, there were possibly some ways to optimize what just happened. However, I don't have my microscope with me.
Really?
We'll just move. I know, I forgot it. Forgot to pack it. I was packing in a bit of a hurry yesterday in order to get over here. So microscope didn't make it, but I will pack it next time. Sorry.
Well, I kind of counted on that.
Yeah.
You got my back?
I got it.
Oh, okay.
Did you bring one?
Yeah, I got a spare one.
Oh,
nice.
All right, well,
good to hear.
Well, we'll definitely dissect the play coming up. Thanks to Dagda, is now Peanut going to have to use his Warrior Trickster, not going to full Faker, but he's still going to get snared. Oner flashing forward, Spell Shield doesn't get a whole lot of value, but the Fear certainly will, as Peanut is going to get taken down. Now 2 versus 1 as Chovy wanting to take down Oner. He grabs that kill, and now another Circle of Frost comes in. The Thrall not going to be able to find Faker, but he does have to get out of there.
By the way, while that was happening,
Yeah, what happened to
Zeus
Doran?
solo killed Doran.
Yeah.
This one,
Just
and you know, Balmy Cinder, that's an Ornn. We've been...
that is from
we've
the
been
mage,
warned.
the mage part of the Ornn kit. Is the Balmy Cinder. Let's have a look at what happens here topside.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, just immediately gets the ultimate, gets the knock-up, gets the follow-up, like, really nice job from Zeus. And you kind of see there, like, you just,
And the bellows
Zeus.
breath as well.
All right, that was nasty. That was so well played.
Doran just getting completely caught off guard. And here we see, never mind.
In the meantime, Gumayusi going to get knocked up as they dive on top of him, not able to stand his ground this time. Peanut not going to be able to lock down Keria. He has to flash to get out of there, though. So Gen.G with an opportunity here on this bottom side to get some plates into the Jinx.
Gen.G coming alive a little bit in this game. Apart from the top side, the fact you're getting kills now, getting some plates onto Peyz, it's exactly what you need for Gen.G to try and start that road towards the reverse sweep. T1, though, responding well, immediately moving up towards this top side. Zeus doesn't have the ult, so Doran just kind of being a bit of nuisance here.
Yeah, Peanut just trying to hold Keria at bay, but it looks like this Rift Herald is going to be foregone by Gen.G. Doran moving back towards this top side, not going to try and go for any sort of steal. It would have been difficult because he's not a jungler. T1 back here towards his bottom lane, though, as Gumayusi just going to settle back into farming. Very even as far as that is concerned, outside of the mid lane where Chovy has a couple of waves in advantage.
As both junglers say, hey, you can have my buff. I take yours. And they're both fine with it, which I think is heartwarming.
Well,
Right?
Oner is actually, no, he's decided, oh
Chovy.
no, I was on the wrong side of the map. I should leave this for Gen.G. But no, just didn't know where the rest of Gen.G were. Didn't want to go too aggressive. So, Gen.G will be able to get both blue buffs. I'll see whether that can actually help them begin this reverse sweep option, because they do have a slight gold lead, and in the early game, they haven't really had many gold leads as they dive on top of Faker once again. Frozen Tomb comes on down, and Faker flashes. He does have the ulti, he's staying alive! And Faker does not die to those.
How does he not die to those? The fact that he had gone so incredibly low, one auto, one anything, would have taken him down, but they're just not quite able to get it across the line.
And I'm pretty sure that Peanut had a cyclone for that. I think they didn't want to use it, thought they had the kill, as I think did everyone. As the Merc Threat's gonna keep Faker alive there, will have to expand his ultimate, will have to expand his flash. But really big moment, because Chovy also using his in that exchange. Although he does have the Unseen Spellbook, so at the very least, he will be able to swap it out later on.
Yeah, decent advantage for Gen.G though, because Faker is still out of lane, right? Was at 0 health, as once again they're going for another one. Great quickness to keep Keria there for even longer, and Peyz is going to be gifted a kill. This is some momentum now for Gen.G in a stage of the game that they haven't been able to find it all series long.
Crucial as well, as you say, the fact that you're kind of coming off the back of a win, whether whatever that looked like, you're now getting early leads, you're getting control in the AD carry matchup, which has eluded Gen.G for a lot of this game. Plus you can even turn this into things like the Dragon in just a little bit of time. Doran still isn't winning these trades against Zeus, though, so does need to be a little bit careful.
I don't know if Doran knows that.
Yeah.
He just keeps on going. And obviously,
He's got his own microscope. He's just
there you go. He
There
is
it
well
is.
prepared.
Why do you guys keep... I'll bring it next time, Cronicler.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
so sorry.
whoa.
As Kask is going to come down here towards this top side. Can Zeus do it again? Doran right now with a decent health lead as he gets back. Just puts him in way of the Super Mega Death Rocket. Peyz says thanks for the setup.
So, what I want to highlight is that, yes, Gen.G won that last game through a series of unfortunate events, right? Like, some shenanigans happened, they got the win. But in it, that doesn't matter. You're still given another chance to fight. And right now, in this early game, they are looking way better, doing exactly what T1 did to them, right? Able to get the AD carry fed to the point where it becomes very hard for the opposing team to deal with, even with the amount of dive that they have.
Well, this time around, it is going to be the Orcs Dragon as Chemtech Soul is upon us. You had your moment there, Dagda, with 3 Mountain Souls in a row, and so it is now Chemtech time. Hoping that we get a Cloud Soul in the next game, if there is a next game. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. As Doran just starting this one up nicely, and look at when the rocket gets fired as well. There it is. It's in the air, as Doran says, no, back there a little bit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Doran just catching Zeus off guard the moment that the Bellows breath comes down, right? At the very end of it, he throws out his ultimate, guarantees the knockback. Zeus doesn't have a lot of mana, was looking for a back anyway, and it gets taken down.
looking for Faker. Zeus in position as the claw comes forward. There's the frozen tomb. Zeus, I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time as he was in turret range, and Faker is going to go down yet again. Gen.G, 6 kills in 12 minutes.
This time he is willing to use the Cyclone, and this time they get the kill. Really nice pick onto Faker, and again, I want to see... Oh, hang on.
All right, Paranoia is going to come forward, gets the flash out, but immediately Oner is going to join him. The fear is going to come through. Monkey possibly a little overextended. Zeus is going to get another one, but there's the body slam flash as Oner's down incredibly low. Doran trying to get on there. Chovy doing it as well as now Gumayusi is fighting. Delight and Peyz. Chovy grabs the kill over on the other side. It's difficult to look at these two screens at once, but we're trying our best, and it is going to dissipate. Action is going to calm down.
And in the end, it ends up working out. Faker gets the teleport, dissuades the rest of Gen.G to keep on fighting. But that's still a win for Gen.G, right? They're able to get the teleport of a Faker. He's now in the bot lane, and unless they can somehow pull off a dive with Peyz and the Light still being very healthy, it's going to be Gen.G coming out ahead of the play.
And it's the fact that you managed to get some kills as well on towards Chovy now means that he should be able to get a decent amount of push here in the mid lane with the Everfrost finish. You got Rift Herald in a minute's time as well. Like, you're hitting some really big item spikes on Gen.G side that isn't quite being matched yet on T1s. They're starting to pick them up, as you can see Guma does finish off the Gale Force. But still, this is a great start for Gen.G. If they can keep this up, they should be able to try and push us to that game 5.
It really does feel like the shackles have come off. You know, Gen.G are like, well, we managed to steal away the win in game number 3, and so they're sort of on free time at this point, right? And so it does feel like there is a certain added level of relaxation here for the squad, and it's doing fantastic things for them as the Mega Blast Cone is going to get Chovy towards this minion wave. And T1 just trying to dot some I's and cross some T's before we get to the next neutral play.
And in this game, they're just straight up outplaying him, right? Like in the mid-jungle 2v2, Peanut actually having way more impact than Oner, which the last time around Oner was on the Nocturne was completely flipped around. And Peyz is getting fed early. Not behind the Aphelios for what I feel like is like the first part. Even in the last game, Guma died, but he was like 10 and what?
Yeah.
10 and 1, 10 and 3. And this time around, look at that, a substantial gold lead for Peyz for Chovy. And if you've done your stats research, when Peyz is ahead, is hold up Doran.
Yeah, Doran in a little bit of trouble here. Gumayusi and Keria are going to move on forward. The cask is going to be used, but only on to the Nocturne. And so Doran just knows that he's real dead. He's going to try and clear up some of this minion wave before he goes in.
T1 just looking to trade there for the Rift Herald. They're like, there's not a hope that we can really fight against Peyz in the position that he's in at the moment alongside Chovy. So they end up finding Doran, who's overextended in the bot lane. Still though, Gen.G now, they have control on top. So could actually try and take this Rift Herald and immediately plunk it down in the mid lane if they want to.
But I do have to say, if Doran doesn't overextend, respects the fact that his team is playing on the top half of the map while he's on the bottom half, then you could probably deny the first turbo. But this is the type of plays that I do think keep T1 very much in the game. Do remember that with Ornn, gold leads can be somewhat deceptive, and it's not like the T1 composition doesn't scale onto team fights.
And that's what I was going to say. The fact that you've still got like a ton of pressure that can come in onto Peyz in team fights, and if he goes down, yes, Chovy's in a good position, but not exactly in the best spot to try and win you an entire team fight on the Lissandra. So if Oner and Faker can still get access with Zeus having the knock up onto Peyz, you're still going to struggle as Gen.G. So this still comes down to execution. It's just that Gen.G definitely have a running start.
And I think this next Dragon is going to be big because even though it's not the favorite stall, I'd say, of most people, picking up an early camp tech can still be pretty beneficial against the amount of CC and single target blow-up potential that Gen.G have.
Yep, definitely being tenacious is very, very good. As Doran, oh, the flash comes out from Gumayusi. Doran taking a lot of damage, but still, that is high value here for the Gen.G top laner.
Huge. Just before we were talking about this dragon fight, Doran, though, still going to be up here trying to see if he can clear the waves. You have to be careful. The ultimate is up.
Yeah, Paranoia is going to come forward, but Oner is just going to get dove on. He's in the bouncy castle now, and he's going to be taken down. They took the mid turret as well as Faker tries to get something back, but still, going to be the Raptors stolen away, and now T1 underneath their top lane outer turret, and things kind of falling apart here for our red side team. Gen.G moving up, looking for that opportunity as they find the grand entrance once again. The claw comes forward. Zeus looks for the knock-up with the ram, and Delight is going to be his target, but he's not the priority. And the Zeus is going to fall down. Peyz collects that kill, and now Gumayusi Keria on the run. Faker has to get out of there. And Gen.G are looking for an inner turret now.
They're going to start pushing this wave in. Wave very quickly cleared out by Faker will stop a lot of this push. So looks like Gen.G will be happy to take top tower. They'll move over towards Dragon and take that gold that was so happily given to them.
And we've seen this issue with T1 before where if they have early game control, they look almost unstoppable. But if they fall behind early and you're able to preemptively try and catch them in rotations as they try and trade back, something that they love to do, you can catch them off guard because they're not used to that, right? They're used to being in full control. And this crucially leads to Gen.G getting the Dragon.
Yeah, and we're going to have a look at it again. Oner, press that paranoia button. They were looking to make that proactive play, but he was dove on before he could actually do anything. So that game plan that they've been relying on, that they play around so effectively, is then just ruined. And
Cronicler was talking about this 1-2 combo of the Rakan and the Wukong. Like, you get it immediately onto the jungler, then they just move on to the next target. And Zeus, I think, wanted to get the kill onto the light there, but unfortunately means that he ends up getting caught out so much because he doesn't get the knock up onto Chovy and onto Peanut. There's enough damage and enough CC to prevent him from escaping.
And I want you to cast your mind back, Chronicler, because what Doran has done a lot on his Gragas is die a lot in the early game and then just have game-winning plays. That's just kind of what happened.
It's the Doran effect.
It is the Doran effect.
You can't explain it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not that great at laning, but you give me a team fight or a skirmish and I'm going to do fantastically well. We haven't necessarily had that big moment yet, but it could be coming up. And if you're a T1 fan, you should be a little bit scared of what the rest of this game could bring.
What I think is crucial is up until this point in the series, when that has happened, like Doran dies, Peyz or Chovy or Peanut also died. But in this game, this is Gen.G's wheelhouse. Doran dying, that's been happening all year. They don't care about that. Crucially, the people that you want to be fed, Peyz and Chovy, are in a great spot in the game at the moment. 3.5 gold lead here for Gen.G.
Well, Chovy sitting on that Mega Blast Cone will deliver him into T1. Faker's going to be the one that's locked down. Super Mega Death Rocket secures it. Peyz gets excited. And T1 are just going to get the heck out of there.
I was about to say, who's baiting who? The fact that Gen.G have this much lockdown, that AoE in short-range corridors, like that's exactly where they want to try and fight, and T1 think they have the pick, end up getting caught, and now Gen.G are just exploding this game open even more.
And it feels like if T1 don't have the initiative in these moments, they're not able to actually find it, right? If you're the one pressing that paranoia, finding the priority target, it's just not working out here because the setup isn't there for the first time in the series, and Gen.G have come alive. It's about time.
Yeah, just need some time, you know, get acquainted.
I mean,
even I know they played another best of 5. I was there for that one as well.
Yeah.
But
I was more speaking about this series.
Yeah. Well, no, I know. Oh. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Just hoping that you weren't still a little bit miffed at me for not bringing the microphone.
I would never be Atlus.
Okay.
I forgive you. You know that.
Thank you.
Besides, I got Dagda now, so.
Yeah, Dagda's microscope king, so we're fine. Peanut going to be clearing out vision here. And we're talking about that sort of stuff because not a whole lot of action now. It is just all about upkeep, making sure the vision is going to be there. And T1 trying to get to this point where they do have some control on the next point of contention on this map.
I think that's exactly, like, just trying to get the push in here so you can actually establish vision on this top side is key. Like, you have that wave pushed up in top lane, so someone eventually should have to go and answer that. I think actually Peanut will probably need to give it a little bit more of a shove, but just trying to draw T1 away from this big group of 5-man unit is exactly what Gen.G need to do before they really try and commit for anything, because they're so quick at finding picks, T1, with the Ornn ult and also Ahri and Nocturne if they're grouped up as 5.
What I really like here is Gen.G is denying vision, right? T1 don't know if they're doing Baron or not, but they have to rotate people over in response, which means Chovy gets a free bot line turret, is able to shove that in completely, get them more map control. And cast your mind back to some of the other games. Gen.G barely got turrets in those. Right now, they're looking peachy, denying a lot of vision as well.
Body Slam gets Doran out of there, so a whole lot of control. Still, T1 get a control ward into the Baron pit. It's 21 minutes into the game. Every time, by at least 23 minutes, the Baron was dead in the other games in this series. It looks like things might change just a little bit with the fact that it is a Gen.G that is in control.
But Gen.G are happy to just keep doing what they're doing. Like, they don't actually have to force the Baron, because if you look at the side lanes, every single time they're grouped up as 5 and mid, you're seeing waves die in the side lane that they're not actually getting to catch. So Gen.G are just slowly but surely accruing these small leads off the fact that they are catching these side lanes and making sure that they're uncomfortable. With Dragon, though, in 30 seconds time, maybe we see T1 try and fight it, but it is just a second chem drill.
And Aphelios now also done here for Oner, so we'll be able to put that on, I assume, Peyz as he dive into the enemy backline, trying and keep that 5-0 Jinx. At the very least, for some summoners, keep her out from the rest of your front line. So you have an opportunity, as Dagda points out very nicely. Stopwatch here for Peyz.
Oh, and a lot of damage as well, as Keria gets taken down pretty low.
That's a heal.
Still, T1 fishing a little bit for some more CC. Charm goes wide though. It's Gen.G keeping them at arm's length. And T1 just playing so defensively at this stage. You can see the gold lead is absolutely ballooned, just kind of passively over the last little amount of time. Gen.G just taking control and making sure that they extend this advantage. Don't want to overextend it. As you can see, T1 starting to move up a little bit more. And of course, they're pretty strong on this Ornn. Their team fight capability still there, but Gen.G, if they still keep this control, they'll be in a great position.
Yeah, you see, Gen.G really has to respect, because if T1 wants to start a fight, they can, right? So if they know that Peanut isn't close, and they press the Ornn and the Nocturne ultimate, isn't a whole lot that you can do as Gen.G. But now T1, they don't need to really contest this. It's only a second Drake, so no huge harm in giving that one over. But eventually, they're going to have to try and actually make a stand, fight back, like they did in the game against Mad Lions.
Yeah, they're not really in a position, though, to do particularly much on the cross map. You can see Chovy's moved up here to prevent top tower plays, and he is Zanya's, he is ults. It's going to be very difficult to try and make anything happen onto him. So, now to Light, trying to return the favor.
Aurelia is going to get proc there, but see Keria still going to make it out, but does have to invest the flash. Summoner spell gained here by Gen.G. T1 do manage to get all 5 to safety though, as there is so much posturing. It just feels like a lot of posturing in this game so far. Gen.G refusing to start the Baron. And I feel like the Baron should get started. Maybe I've been conditioned in this series so far. It's been alive for the longest it has, the whole series.
I think for T1, your best bet here is to send Faker into top lane to try and match Chovy on the push. And as long as you just keep pushing waves back and forth, you'll be relatively okay. Like, you're buying time for Gumayusi to get to the late game. The problem is going to be cases like this where Gen.G are able to move in and steal your buffs away. But if you can actually try and get Oner to play between the two lanes, maybe you can use the Nocturnal to like gank onto Chovy, blow some of these spells nice and early, or at least get something back on the map, because at the moment you're just being bled out.
Yeah, and that's actually what I think Gen.G has done a really good job at, is when you're playing a Nocturne in a situation like this, where everything is warded, you have 0 side lane pressure, and you have 0 catch potential, it's really, really hard.
Ooh. Oner just out of range of the Ring of Frost, didn't need the spell shield. It would have been great though, had it been in range. As Gen.G in position, Zeus moving forward, he is not the optimal engage target. Once again, Delight moving real fast. There's the Ornn. Paranoia comes down as well as T1. They're looking for the team fight. It's a 5v5. Moonlight Vigil, just massive from Gumayusi, but he's now in the bouncy castle, and he's just destroyed. It's Doran that collects that one. Oner's going to go down as well, and Gen.G are just wiping the floor with T1.
And you can't put a monetary value on that stopwatch from Peyz. Gen.G was ready. They knew the engage was coming. All they needed was to wait it out, catch the engage, and then go in. And you see the fact that Chovy and Peanut are as strong as they are meant that they had more than enough damage either way.
And Gen.G stopwatches these games have been absolutely insane. Yeah. Again, the fact that Peyz does manage to get away with just the Gale Force. He doesn't even have to flash. Able to get away from that is huge. Now Gen.G will take the Baron. It's about 2 minutes delayed, but still, they'll be very happy and in so much control. Lads, I think we're going to a game 5.
Yeah, I have a feeling you might be right there, Dagda. Let's check out this team fight once again.
Oh yeah, you can see as that comes through, like, stopwatch on the Nocturne, on the follow-up, and the cast goes to Gumayusi means he's not really, like, gets a good ult off, but immediately ends up in the bounce house, Peyz is able to Gale Force away, and it's only Oner who's dealing damage to him, so on the backside, there's just not enough DPS coming through from T1 to try and clean up the fight.
Yeah, that's a happy score right there. Of course, still a little bit stressed in this position in a series, but all momentum now with Gen.G. And we all know that, you know, T1 in 5-game series, they've been tested many, many times. DRX was a team that did it to them relatively recently. You guys remember, it was last year. But that one didn't go so well for T1. We'll see whether Gen.G can get to that position. Of course, they should. They have 10,000 gold in the lead. Now a Baron, Red Bull Baron power play cresting that 2,000 gold mark after this inner turret goes down.
And I want to highlight as well the damage that Chovy and Peanut did in that fight, right? Like, even with Peyz as fat as he is, was more of bait, maybe this time around as well.
Yeah, let's go for it one more time as, oh my goodness, the damage onto that Nocturne, but they get into the backline and they manage to take down the Jinx. Delight also taking so much as Faker is going to clean that one up, and now Gumayusi is still alive at full health as Gen.G are looking now desperately trying to escape, and that Baron power play I was talking about, it's not going to crest the 2,000 gold mark. Doran is going to get taken out. They're trying to just stop this fight as Chovy with the claw will create enough distance, but I don't know whether they're escaping this one. Another charm from Faker, and Doran will be taken down from that. And T1, look, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say it again. Not going to say it again. Yeah, looking a little bit better in the game.
You say potentially game 5, and immediately T1 slammed that door shut.
That's one of the most epic cast curses I've done. I've done many in my time, and that was one of the worst, I think.
I want to highlight there, it was the combination of Zeus and crucially, this teleport isn't spotted because of the Nocturne ultimate, right? So they don't know that Zeus is there, and I want to draw your attention to Gumayusi, because yes, Zeus is able to single out Peyz, but look at this. Moonlight Vigil then over the wall to guarantee the kill, and not only that, but as a result, he is completely safe. He's standing behind his front line, and then without an enemy AD carry, they can just win the ensuing fight.
And that Red Bull Baron power play is next to nothing now as T1 will get the dragon for themselves as well, get some of those objective bounties, and you're looking at Gumayusi's items. 3 items now complete. He's still a little bit behind when it comes to the Jinx, but Gen.G, they want to immediately rush mid lane, knowing the T1 out of position, but they can collapse onto Peyz here.
Another 13 seconds left on this Baron. They do manage to make it to the inhibitor turret, but I don't know whether they're going to be able to get there. Only 3 members of Gen.G in position right now. Doran and Chovy are going to move up as well. The Baron is now done though. Negative 800 gold in that Red Bull Baron power play. So not much of a power play.
I think Gen.G got a little bit lucky there that T1 didn't spot where Chovy and Doran were, because if they had just gone for it, that could have been a game ender right there. T1 now getting sieged underneath their own turret though. Good charm.
Yeah, Delight going to take a little bit of damage in response. I said a little, I meant a lot. Moonshot doing a whole bunch of work there as Zeus going to have to flash out, but now the Ornn comes in. Moonlight Vigil doesn't do anything though. And T1 not going to be able to find the engage they were looking for, but there is still Doran relatively out of position. He's pretty tanky, gets speared up, doesn't have flash though, does have body slam, and now looks to try and escape. Faker now gets into position as they dive on board. They look for Gumayusi and they manage to take down the Aphelios. Now Peyz dodging everything. And Gen.G just destroy them. That is going to be game 5.
That's a clean ace!
This series is too much, boys!
Are you still jet-lagged? I think I'm wide awake at this stage, man.
That one certainly woke me up. I've had a fair bit of coffee, but nothing is like this. We're going to Silver Scrapes, thanks to Gen.G.
After the first...